is Dr. Ladel Lewis, and welcome to Community Conversation. What is Community Conversation? This is an opportunity for you to be informed about what's going on in your community, because the best resident is an informed resident, and we want to make sure that we combat misinformation and no information. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope that you enjoy the show. Today our guest is Alexandria Riley from the Genesee County Land Bank. A lot of people have heard about the Genesee County Land Bank, but today it is your time to find out exactly who they are and their role in our community. So, hello, Ms. Riley.
Dr. Lewis, thank you for having me today, and I am so excited to be on the inaugural series, the inaugural show for the Community Conversation series. So thank you again. I appreciate the invitation.
Absolutely, and thank you for accepting. We know that the Genesee County Land Bank, they play such a pivotal role in our community. So let's go ahead and just dive right into it. So what exactly is the Genesee County Land Bank?
So the Genesee County Land Bank Authority started we're coming up on our 20th anniversary. So it started in 2004 in the city of Flint, and it is the model, or it has been the model for land banking, modern land banking throughout the country. And so I don't know if a lot of local leaders like yourself or community members also know that the model for land banking that we see all across the country right now, over 300 land banks throughout the United States that have formed, they started after the model and the work of the Genesee County Land Bank Authority from 2004 to now. So what does that mean? In theory, we work to put properties, tax reverted properties, blighted properties, vacant properties, deteriorated properties back into productive use by pairing those properties with responsible buyers who will invest in those properties, families, businesses, investors who will make those investments in those properties and bring them back into productive use and put them back ultimately on the tax roll.
Wow, so what you just told me is that Flint once again has set the standard. Well, I'll say Genesee County, Flint, and we have done it in terms of the land bank.
Yes.
All right, wow. So it's bigger than just Genesee County Land Bank. So let me guess, do they have a Detroit Land Bank and so?
There is a Detroit Land Bank. There's a Saginaw County, I believe, Land Bank. And from that progression, there's an organization that was started by current congressman, but former treasurer for Genesee County, and that's none other than Dan Kildee, Congressman Dan Kildee. It was an nonprofit organization called the Center for Community Progress. And so that organization works with land banks all across the country. But if you go to their site, and then there's a national land bank network. And so through that network, they've modeled a lot of their programs and services from right here, as you said, the city of Flint, Genesee County's first land bank.
That's amazing. All right, so hearing all that rich history, what is your role at the land bank?
So I serve as the director of sales and development, and so I've been in my position about 3 years now, and I serve very proudly with a team of great professionals. So on behalf of our team, our executive director, Michael Freeman, just again, very grateful to be here.
All right, so I know that the land bank owns a significant amount of properties and parcels in the area. So how did you acquire these parcels? How does the land bank get this property?
So that's a great question, because understanding our work also is an understanding of how we receive those properties. So by way of state law, the Genesee County Treasurer has to hold an auction to deal with properties that are tax foreclosed upon. And so those properties, after a cycle of 3 years, when the property taxes have not been paid, those properties are foreclosed upon. They're transferred to the Genesee County Treasurer through that involuntary transfer, and then the treasurer then transfers those properties to the land bank with the purpose for us to use our tools at our disposal to get them back into responsible buyers' hands.
Okay, so I just want to interject that piece right there. So I know that the properties after they go to auction, they come to council, correct? And then council, since the city doesn't have the capacity to deal with the with the properties, because this isn't just you have one person dealing with this. I mean, you're gonna have a full staff at the land bank, correct?
Yes.
Okay, with several different departments.
We have staff, and just to kind of give light to it, so we have the sales and development division, and so within that area, and that's the department that I proudly lead, we have about 7 individuals that work in that area. We also have a planning and neighborhood revitalization department that's chaired by or directed by Christina Kelly, and a lot of people throughout the community know Raynetta Speed, Melissa Hertline, all of the, we have Jonathan now joining us as well, who was a Flint native. And so we have a team of professionals, committed individuals that work with our cleaning green program and that also work with mapping out our demolition program. Beyond that, we have Dwayne Bickford, who leads the property maintenance division, and those are the crews that you see out cutting grass. Those are the crews that you see out boarding up properties. And so we have different divisions and different departments, and then of course we have our administration and then our finance department. And so all of us collectively work with one another, and kind of overlap in certain areas, but it's a team effort at the end of the day.
Okay. So I had to point that out because at the end of the year, the council, we receive these properties, and a lot of people, they say, hey, why don't you all save those properties? Do something with the properties. And it's more involved than what one may think. It's just not as easy as, okay, we're going to retain properties and then we're going to sell them back to the community. No, we need a whole department, a whole staff, to get that done.
And so we've grown. Obviously, this is 20 years in the making. We have a 20-year anniversary coming up. We've grown. One thing that I can say in terms of leadership, our executive director has been very receptive to feedback that we've received from the community, as well as going out in the community and presenting our programs and our services. We're very grateful we've been able to join you at your ward meetings, other council members, and just churches, community events, and just being there so that members of the community know and understand that the Genesee County Land Bank Authority is a tool for the future. It's an asset within the community, and the work that we're doing is to make Flint and Genesee County better.
Okay, so now hopefully everyone will have a picture of how you all receive these properties, correct?
Okay.
Okay, so now that you all have the properties, how do you all fund them? How do you all take care of them? Because you have to insure them, and yeah. So how do you all pay for all of this?
That's another great question, Dr. Lewis, and it's a delicate balance, right? Because you have properties that have gone through tax foreclosure. Oftentimes, those properties have been vacant for over 3 years. Sometimes those properties have been vandalized. They've been stripped. So some properties you still have occupants in those properties once they're foreclosed on, and other properties folks are long gone. And so based on the inventory that we receive, our goal is ultimately to get those properties back on the tax roll and to get a positive outcome. And so it's a delicate balance. It's a balancing act. So in certain instances, we go in and we rehab those properties. When I talked about the property maintenance division and Dwayne and his team, they go in. We just had a property on Mackin Road that we went in and we completely rehabbed, and it's on the market. And soon, hopefully, the new buyers will be calling it home. But beyond that, we have different programs from our Featured Homes program, our VIP program, our Ready for Rehab program, our sales overall, our sales programs, which the revenue from the profit that's generated from those sales go right back into the community for our mowing, our board ups, our cleaning green program, and to also continue to fund and support our overall operating budget.
Wow. So that doesn't. That's a lot of. That's a lot. That's definitely a lot. So, wow. Okay. So, with that being said, talk to us a little bit about the demolition that's taking place right now, because we know that we set aside ARPA dollars, which was added from the county, and then we also had the philanthropy donate. So, the approximately $45 million. So, can you talk to us a little bit about the demolition process?
So the demolition program, and that's led by Christina Kelly, her department. But it was truly a labor of love, from the city council to the administration, city administration, to the county, to federal funds that were received, to the Mott Foundation, and so many different entities and organizations and leaders came together to support that, because what we had done is we had conducted surveys throughout the community and said, what's your number one issue? As a resident of the city of Flint, Genesee County, what's your number one issue? With these funds, what can they be used for and get the biggest impact? And the number one response that we received overwhelmingly from the community was, deal with these blighted structures, these dilapidated structures that need to come down. And so, fortunately, thanks to all the hard work of our elected officials and those leaders within the community, we've been able to leverage those funds, because it was a true leverage.
Right.
The Mott Foundation said, "We'll come in, we'll do this if this is met or if this is matched." So we were able to leverage those funds, and over roughly about 2,000 properties will be coming down now. And within the next few years, the program has already started. So you see that now. And we all know that blight next door to you is not something that a neighbor wants, and not a place where a child deserves to live. So we're seeing the positive returns of that now by way of that program.
So, how did you all prioritize those 2,000 homes?
So we had, and I can't really speak too deep into it because that's not my area of expertise. But from my understanding, so we that was another process. So obviously the properties that were the most dangerous, that needed to come down the fastest, those were prioritized. Then we also received feedback from community leaders, city council members, and within those wards who said, okay, these are the ones based on those priorities. But overall, looking at, is it a burnout? Is it obviously they're all hazards, right?
Right.
But how bad is that property, and also going throughout the community and making sure that it's practical and streamlined.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get back into your division right quick. Okay. So now the land bank came and they done tore down the blighted house next to me. Okay. Sister Odell house is now gone and it's a vacant lot. So as a homeowner, what are my options for this land?
So that's a key question that we want members of the community to know. So we have funds built into place to maintain those lots for a series of 3 to 5 years, after which those structures come down. But within that time frame, before that time frame is completed, we ultimately would like to see that either sold to a next door neighbor who can now use that as extended property to their already existing property, or they can plant a garden, they can maintain it, they can upkeep it. And we have seen the effects of our vacant lot sales. So it's an incredible value. $25 if you own a home, if you're homesteaded, if it's your principal residence in the city of Flint, and this program is specific to the city of Flint. If you own your home and the lot next to you, to the left, to the right of your home is available, if a prior demo property was there, it comes down, we can sell that lot for $25. And
Okay.
you own the lot.
So you said it have to be to the left or to the right.
Correct.
So not across the street or behind my house.
So in the general vicinity, we will sell, but for the value of the $25 side lot sale, we would consider that. So a side lot would be to the left or to the right for $25. A vacant lot sale would be based upon if it's behind it, but it touches it and it's adjacent. That would be $100 sale. And anything within that general vicinity, it would be a fair market sale, which we, based upon pricing right now in the city of Flint, we do $2,500 per acre. So a typical standard lot in the city of Flint is 0.1 of an acre.
Okay. All right. So have you guys thought about putting modular homes? Like, is modular homes an option for some of these vacant lots?
So we are looking at innovative ways to build up the community. So our executive director says all the time, it's not about moving forward through demolition. You don't rebuild communities by just tearing everything down. You rebuild by reinvesting and by building back and building up. And so modular, the general stick build, so just innovative ways. Obviously, within the construction industry right now, prices are high. I think within all industries right now, prices are high. But we do have a modular development on Fifth Avenue that we are moving full steam ahead on. And so what we're looking at is quality finishes, affordable pricing, opportunities for new quality inventory in Flint, and also how that's going to connect to the neighborhoods around it and bring that value up for the community. And also a home and a purchase of a home or just owning property, it's a source of pride for a buyer. It's a source of pride for a family. It's an investment. It's a tool. In the past, wealth has been transferred from generation to generation by way of property.
Correct.
And so we want right here in the city of Flint, throughout Genesee County, to build up the community by way of making those opportunities possible for Flint and Genesee County residents.
Okay. So say that the house is tore down next to me again, and here go the lot. And I really don't want to take on the tax burden of the lot. So what are my other options? Any other options for me?
Yes, you can lease the lot. You can adopt the lot. We have programs called Lease a Lot, Adopt a Lot, and the cost associated with that is $1 per year. And so you enter into an agreement, a lease agreement with us, and so you can maintain that property and keep it up under that contract over up to a period of 5 years. And so within that time period, also you can look at it, and if things change, you can decide if you want to acquire it or not.
Okay, wow. So what if, I'm just trying to get current on my taxes and trying to get everything together. Do I still have the option to lease a lot, or does that disqualify me?
No, that does not disqualify you. And that's why it's also a program that we push and we gear toward those individuals who may have a challenge here or may have set out in their mind, okay, I'm going to deal with this in this time frame. But in the meantime, I would like to maintain this property. I would like to enter into a lease with the land bank. And so we do allow for that. And then once the taxes are paid, once the taxes are caught up, then you can come back and say, okay, I'm ready. Let me buy. And we're happy and eager to do that.
So it sounds like it's something for everyone here. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk to the parcels with the home on it. Okay. So say that we have some of let's talk about your ready for rehab homes and your featured homes. What are those? And also, how can people find those?
Okay. Our Ready for Rehab and our Featured Homes program, these are, as you indicated, these are structures on those lots. So these are properties. And so we grade our properties based on the condition of those properties. So a featured home would be considered a better graded property. This is a property that requires a lesser amount of investment or rehab. So understanding that a great deal of our inventory, I would say the majority the vast majority of our inventory, there's some investment required. These are properties that, again, come to us by way of tax foreclosure and through the Genesee County Treasurer's Office. So understanding that, recognizing that, we try to market those properties as such. And so with our featured homes program, that's a program that our buyers can utilize a land contract and become a homeowner. And with our Ready for Rehab program, these are properties that we're looking at as cash sales, but they require more investment than those of the featured homes. And so we see more investors or more seasoned industry, construction, trade individuals taking on those properties, because it's a heavier lift as far as getting them back up to code, pulling those permits and going forth and making sure that you get your certificate of occupancy before those properties are occupied again.
Okay, so you use the term land contract. Some people might not know what that is. So go ahead and walk us through the whole process. So how do I identify a home that's a featured home? So where do I find this? So how do I know?
So on our website, www.thelandbank.org, also by way of technology, Facebook, Instagram, on both social media platforms, in addition to in our lobby downtown on Saginaw Street, 452 South Saginaw Street. You can come in during business hours, Monday through Friday, between 9 and 5 p.m. And the lobby is open to the public. And we have flyers placed there, and they're updated weekly with all the properties that we are showcasing and featuring, in addition to going back to the methods of technology to see that as well. But we update constantly with our inventory those particular properties. So that's how they see them.
Okay, so can you get on a mailing list so I can consistently be informed on what's available?
So I left that out, and see, you're a good council person and community leader, because I left that out, and you gave me that one, so thank you. But we do also on our website, you can sign up to be on our mailing list, and so then we'll send you a regular email with the list of the properties that we have coming up. So thank you, I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, okay, so perfect. So so say I'm looking to buy a home. I signed up for your email listing, and so I received some not ready for rehab, but I'll say featured homes. I identify a home that I like. Okay, so now what do I do?
All right, so now you go to the showing. So the showing will be advertised as the date and the time, and so we make showings available in the morning and also in the afternoon. What we're looking at doing, and I'll keep you updated on the progress of this, we've not done it yet, and this is again hearing back from the community and responding to the feedback that we received. To schedule separate showings, there will be a nominal fee for that in order to do that, to send someone out and to do a private showing. And this is if someone misses an open house, or if someone has, life happens, so work, childcare, and everything in between.
Special council meeting.
And so making sure that we're making the property available to those that can't make necessarily our public open house. And so the first step is seeing that property. And that's really critical and important. A lot of other land banks throughout the United States will allow properties to be purchased sight unseen. And so you just are looking at something on the screen, a property, a description of that property, but you're not walking through it and you're not seeing it. We want our buyers. We make it where our buyers have to. When they come, they have to sign in. So before we sell you a property, we need to know that you've seen that property. I make a joke with all of our buyers that I personally close with and say, don't come back next week and say this house didn't have a doorknob, because you walked through it, and and it's so important. And I say that jokingly, but it's so important for our buyers to understand that this is a project, this is an investment. The home buyer process it's a big deal. It's a source of pride, and it's a commitment overall. And so our buyers have to see the property. Beyond that, if they purchase by way of a land contract, They have to take a HUD approved housing counseling course. And
Now, I gotta pause you. What's a land contract?
What's a land contract?
What is a land contract?
A land contract is financing from the Genesee County Land Bank Authority. So it's in essence it's similar, very similar to a mortgage. It's allowing for buyers to purchase a property where we record a memorandum of land contract, and once that property is paid for, then we transfer the deed. So we record the memorandum of land contract. That property, by way of that land contract, makes the buyer, once they sign and close, it makes them the new owner of the property. So it's different from renting. It's a vehicle for ownership.
Okay, wow. All right, so, but as you were saying, I kindly interrupted.
No, that's a great question, so I'm glad that you did. But I get excited, Dr. Lewis, when I talk about our land contract program because of the value of it. And so in a traditional sense, and if you go to a traditional lending institution, a bank, it will be at Chase, Bank of America, UWM, Rocket Mortgage, they're going to pull your credit. They're going to see if you had bankruptcy within the last however many years. They're going to pull your tax returns.
Absolutely.
They're going to vet you and qualify you. And then they're also going to see what is affordable to you or not. In a similar sense, we do vet our buyers. One, our buyers across the board cannot have any outstanding tax arrearages or taxes owed on any other property that they may own. That's an ineligibility issue for us. We will respond and say, you can buy, but you can't buy until you pay your property taxes. Another thing is if you've had a previous tax foreclosure, that makes you ineligible to purchase by way of land contract. But the good
Forever?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but by way of land contract, we don't pull credit. We don't check and see if you've had a previous bankruptcy. We're not pulling tax returns. And so we're qualifying you based on 60 days of income coming into the household. So what does that mean? Do you have a salary coming in? Do you have hourly wage coming in? Do you have child support, Social Security? We qualify based on that. We want to see income coming into the household. And we do this because we understand, again, these properties need investment, but we also want to put them back into the hands of responsible buyers. So they have to take that course. We have a partnership with Metro Community Development. In addition to Habitat for Humanity, the course is $25. And so at the completion of the course, they get a certificate. And so that makes them eligible to purchase by way of a land contract. And we also use a home affordability calculator. Okay. We don't want whatever that income is that has been demonstrated and shown to us, provided to us. We don't want our buyers to exceed 30% of that income in a payment up for a house toward the land contract payment. So I think those are the biggest takeaways of that program, because all you need is to see a house, to complete a class, and have 60 days of income coming into the household before you can qualify. Now, you do have to put a down payment down as well. Okay. And so that down payment is nominal as well. It's either $1,000 or 10% of the purchase price of the home. So any property that you're buying for less than $10,000, it'll be a flat fee of $1,000. Anything beyond that would be 10% of that total amount.
Now, when you say salary, you mean everyone's in the house, so I can get Boo Boo, Ray Ray, everybody. We put all our money together.
So
and
if it's demonstrated in the household, so like you may have a mom that's receiving child support and it shows coming in for that minor child that's in the household. If you have a couple together and they're buying, you can take both parties within that as well. So we do look at that and what the intention is as well. So, you know, if someone's saying I'm just going to put my income up for this, but I have no intention of living there, that's a little bit different. But if they plan on living there and buying together, we do qualify them. Yes.
Okay, so all right, so that's another great segue. So when we're talking about how you all select, so say I'm the mom, the single mom. I went on to the land bank website. I'm on the mailing list. I identified a house. I went to the showing. I decided that I want to be a part of the program. I want to become a buyer, and so I see the house that I'm looking at. Say it costs approximately, I'll say $5,000. Okay. So how do you all go about selecting who will receive the house? Because I trust I won't be the only person looking at the house or the only person submitting a bid. So do you go by the highest bidder? Do you go by what standard?
We go by a multitude of factors. Let's first recognize the price. And so if you're seeing on our website, if you're seeing on our flyers, if you see an advertisement from us where it says a suggested price, this is a suggested price. And we tell all of our buyers because it's a competitive process right now. The market is still very hot throughout the region, throughout Michigan. And so understanding that if it says suggested at 5,000, and you put in an offer for 2,500 and someone else over here puts in an offer for 6,000, we're gonna obviously qualify and vet based on that. I think the biggest takeaway for our determining who to sell to, we look at factors such as what will be the intended use of the property. Will you be buying to live there? Will you be buying for a family member to gift to them or to rent to them or however you would like to set that up? Or are you an investor that's seeking to purchase it, rehab it, and either rent it or flip it? So on our application, it gives you the option to determine that. We prioritize home ownership. So if we have an investor that's putting in an offer, and it can be an all cash offer, and we have, going back to that example of that mother and the family and the children that will be in this instance, they will be moving into the house, living in the house, versus a situation where you have an investor that's looking to just buy it and make a profit off of it. Based on the offer amount, we would weigh it upon that, and we would prioritize home ownership above it based on the pricing as well. So it's important, and I tell all of our buyers, Doc, to do not hold back in providing information. If this will be your first home, if this will be a family home, if this is your former family home and you're trying to get it back, any information that you would like to share with us, please provide it, because we look at everything. We look at all those different factors in determining who we sell to.
Okay. So it sounds like you didn't answer all of the questions. So
Good.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and just address a few misconceptions about the land bank. And I'm gonna let you take it away because I know you hear a lot. Because I'll start off. The land bank own all this on all the blighted and abandoned property in the city of Flint. Is that true?
Well, I wouldn't say all of it. No, we do own a great deal of property, and again, these are properties that have been transferred to us by way of tax foreclosure. So oftentimes, these are properties that the prior owners have walked away from, and so now we're holding these properties and trying to get them back into the hands of individuals that will make those investments in those properties. You can go on our website, and on our website, it's a link to the Flint Property Portal, or you can go directly to the Flint Property Portal, and you can make a map, and you can see particularly in the city of Flint, any property that is owned by the city of Flint, any property that's owned by the Genesee County Land Bank, any property that's owned just by a private owner, and you can map it out and see who owns it. You can also see the condition of that property. And so we do own a decent amount, but we are, and that inventory is constantly changing because we are selling those properties as well.
What about this? The land bank only sells to out of town investors and not to local people.
I knew it was coming. How did I know that? That is a big misperception out there, but it's not true. It's simply not true. When we began collecting data of who we are selling to in the last 2 years, we're very proud that we are selling to local people. Our sales reflect ultimately the community that we serve. And so we say that in terms of the data, the numbers that show that we sell to a diverse group of individuals. And we sell to the majority of our sales, 84% of our total sales annually go toward homeownership. And that's incredible because you have about 62% of which individuals and families are buying for themselves for the purpose of homeownership, and you have another 22% of which are individuals that are buying for family members so that they can receive the benefits of homeownership for themselves. And so then you have that 16% roughly where you have investors coming in and making purchases. So we're very proud of those numbers. We've also been seeing a big uptick we have about 52% of our sales going to individuals that have identified, and these are voluntary surveys that are completed at the closing table. 52% of our sales are going to individuals that have identified as African American and Black, about another 30% Caucasian white. Then you have a growing Hispanic population that have been making purchases, in addition to a growing percentage of young people between the ages of 18 and 35 that are planting roots and that are stepping forward and saying, I want to be a homeowner. So we are very pleased with those numbers and the progress that's being made. And another thing, and I have to say this as a product of our work, when you look at other communities throughout the region, Detroit, Pontiac, Saginaw, other urban communities where you have a large percentage of individuals that have identified as minorities. There's been a growing trend based on U.S. Census data that showcases that trend is going toward majority renter-based cities. In Flint, the trend is going in the opposite direction. And so Flint is moving in a great direction because it is prioritizing home ownership, and it's a majority homeowner-based city. And so I think that is a byproduct of some of the programs, our land contract program, our featured homes program, which is making home ownership so easy to attain within Genesee County.
I mean, well, this is 20 years in the making.
So it is.
I mean, absolutely. And this is a great thing for council people to hear because, we need taxes in order to keep the city flowing and going. So this is great. All right, so I'm going to end with this. So say, I have a land bank home next to me, and unfortunately it hasn't made the, well, I can't say it haven't made the demo list, but it hasn't been totally serviced by the land bank yet, or haven't been purchased by a prospective buyer yet. And say I have issues. Say the grass is high, someone been dumping, someone removed boards from the door, someone is squatting in it. So what are the steps that we can take to rectify this? Is there a website, someone that we can call? So I'll start with say we have a blight issue at a land bank home. What should we do?
So we ask that residents either call us or they go online to our website, www.thelandbank.org. On our website, you can report blight. And so you can report a concern. And so you can also go back and track and see the progress of that complaint that has been made, if it's a land bank property. So, and we also have a good partnership with the community and the leadership within the community as well, and that's countywide. And so based on those relationships, if you pass on information to us and it is not a land bank on property, we will pass that information along to the municipality, the township, the city, or the proper venue of which can address that issue and concern as well.
Okay. So, what if we have a squatter? Because we know that the winter months is upon us, and a lot of people they're seeking shelter, and some people they may, if utilities are not on, then they may use alternative methods to warm themselves. So, what do you suggest if a squatter is identified in the land bank property?
If you know of a situation where someone is squatting, because it creates a danger to that individual who is trying to hook up um, possibly a shelter or a heating source. And so we ask that you do report that to us as well via our website or via telephone, and we will send someone on our team out to go and investigate it.
All right. Well, I think you done informed the community.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, is there anything else that you would like to add?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for giving us the platform to get our message out there and to also identify the products, the services, the programs that are available as a resource and a tool to the community. And so, I think where I didn't necessarily answer, you came back with a follow up question. Because you had some knowledge and understanding of our programs. And so we thank you for that. And always a pleasure and happy to come back anytime in the future, and definitely honored and grateful to be on the first segment of Community Conversations.
Absolutely. But wait a minute. A little birdies told me that the land bank may be having community meetings in the upcoming years to inform the city on how they can obtain some of this good land bank property. Is that true?
That is true. I can attest to that. So the little birdie told you right.
All right. Well, we're going to be looking forward to that. And we thank you so much for joining us and tuning in next time for our community conversation. Thank you.